Well, we have Mr. Jeff Rucker with us tonight, and I think that everybody probably has a copy. Everybody can get it downloaded. I know some had trouble getting it on the email, but Mr. Rucker dropped this off, and it's a breakdown kind of the Lake Rattle and Roll. So we'll go over this, and anybody that has questions or anything Mr. Rucker wants to talk about, or that we want to talk about or discuss with him, is what we'll do. So has everybody had a chance to look over it?
If I can just say something to start, I just want to thank everyone on council again for the opportunity to hold Lake Rattle and Roll. I think it took us a while to recover. I think everyone that we spoke to was in full agreement that it was a big success. I hope that its success helped the Lake Fest. I think everyone felt that Lake Fest was a huge success this year, and I'd like to think that we helped make Lake Fest even better. You know, our desire was not to compete in any way, but to just provide something new to help kick off. And as I stated from the outset, our goal was to raise additional monies. We set some goals. We didn't know the first year how we'd turn out. We had a lot more expenses, as often is the case. We spent money where we felt it was most important to do so. I think we all agreed that we had a great crowd, and we're excited to talk about how this remaining money may be spent. Mark and I have come up with some ideas. Recently, I sent an idea to Regina, and Mark and I have been talking today again. We both have been very busy since the festival, and it's given us some time to think. But you know, our main goal when we set out was to help promote community and commerce. Mark and I both have businesses on the square, and that was the motivator for the festival, and how we can provide these funds back to the city with everyone in agreement that benefits all parties. Once we get through any questions, I'd like to talk to that because Mark and I have some more really exciting ideas. So.
And what I've just passed out to them, Jeff, is the copy of the bike racks that you had brought by, and
right. And when I was talking to Mark about the bike racks, he said, well, we used to have some bike racks actually that have been removed, and I wasn't sure of that. I didn't know that. Maybe you guys can help me understand if there was a bike rack in front of City Hall that's been removed, or others.
I remember one in Beck Park that we took down. We took it out when we took the wall down that was in there.
Oh, okay. So the reason was not because it wasn't used.
Yeah, it wasn't used.
Whether it was or not, but that wasn't the reason. The reason was because
it was butt against the wall that was removed when we took it down.
And we've got some ideas. These bike rack ideas, you know, I recall when we initially pitched everything, there was a desire to do something at the park. We had talked, my memory serves me, the first proposal was one proposal was for reenactors, one proposal to come to the square, one idea was for fitness stations that could be, you know, where the nautical mile sign is, or around town. Some folks on council thought those might be appropriate in the park or walking path or different things like that. With respect to the park, you know, one thought is if we could do something, we don't want to just do something at the park. I guess that's my biggest thing, because that doesn't promote our initial intention of commerce. It may promote community, but it doesn't really promote commerce at all. And our goal is really to stimulate commerce. So there was something that we all kind of get behind at the park. I'd like it to involve something also at the square. Bike racks could be an option, which here's some designs from some companies, or from one company that makes them, and it could be that there's a bike rack like this at the park and one on the square too. The idea of the nautical wheel, we just thought, well, that's kind of our city symbol, and if you go to Nashville, you see guitars. If you go to Cincinnati, you see flying pigs. If you go to Lexington, you see horses. Bike racks might be something that helps enhance our brand, also stimulates and promotes health and tourism. So that's one idea. Another idea that Mark and I were talking about tonight, when we have things at Beck Park, it takes the city workers have to put up a temporary fence, and it's put up and taken down each time, or sometimes it just stays up, and it's not a beautification of the city. I think everyone would agree that doesn't beautify or add any value. It is a necessary safety feature, but it doesn't really beautify the city in any way. So another idea would be to get some proposals for the cost of constructing a fence, a steel fence. We've got a few steel companies around, fence companies, and maybe it's a nice decorative fence that provides the barrier and maybe is permanent, so that park can be more often used and not require city employees to put it up, take it down, put it up, take it down. So that's another idea. And the third, there's a couple other maintenance things, but the third idea, which I think Mark and I really, the more we talked about it, the more it became exciting, was we've got the stage over at Beck Park. But the stage doesn't have a roof on it. And that really, that hinders its use a lot. Even when it's sunny, a roof can provide shade. If we were to take bids for a permanent roof, not a wood one, but actually a permanent steel structure that could incorporate sound system, it could make a movie, instead of having to inflate something, a projector could be pulled down for movie night maybe. Lighting could be incorporated in there. For $8,000, that might be the best use of money there, and in order to do something also at the park, maybe we can work into that another stage like the park that goes to the city park, so that people can start thinking of having festivals at the city park, having music events at the city park. I wouldn't think that wooden stage would cost more than $1,500, $2,000 maybe, I don't know, but these are just some ideas that do promote both community and commerce. That's our real focus. So I'll give the floor back and just.
No, we appreciate any insights or any ideas.
My wife and I have actually discussed a wrought iron fence over there at that park.
Yeah.
Because that is kind of having to take it up, put it down, take it up, put it down, take it up. And it's not that attractive. My wife and I have actually discussed that idea.
Well, and one thing that I didn't mention about the bike racks, which could be incorporated into the stage, or it could also be incorporated into the fencing, is how do we tie sponsorship into this? I got 32 companies to sponsor Lake Rattle and Roll. I mean, you see the numbers there. It was a lot of money raised to pay for the $4,000 air-conditioned bathrooms. And
I'm confused on your numbers.
I'm sorry?
I'm confused on your numbers. You have Bank of Jamestown down at 20,000 and you have us down at 2,500, so either way you look at that, that's 22,500.
That's not correct.
Okay, so if that's not correct, what all other numbers in this is not correct? If that's not correct and you based your numbers off of what you ended up with left to do these things, then that other 7,500, that's the difference
I'll
between
have-
those two
I'll have to take
sponsors,
a
is
look
that
at that.
added on to this 7796?
And I'll have to take a look at that, but that is not correct. When I provided all the information to a bookkeeper right on the square, and the bookkeeper put it all back together, I gave it to my partner, he went over everything.
So two peoples went over it already.
But I think he corrected that, right here on the
Well,
front
the
of the
Bank of
city. And
Jamestown on the
it
back.
said it should be 20,000.
Yeah, on the back, the very last page.
Yeah, that's
Regina
my,
wrote that.
that's my right.
Regina did that, and then
That
is
is
there
not,
invoices for everything that was spent?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because,
And understand, let's be clear. We are not working for the city. We were a private entity. I have provided these numbers. We did not have to disclose all of our expenses.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, Mr. Rector.
yeah, because
We use
that's,
public money to facilitate this event, and we have a responsibility to spend that wisely. And if it's not been, then you do have to account for it.
Well, you sit on our LLC.
I do, and I would vote in favor of disclosing everything.
Well, and that's what we've done.
Well, I don't like that comment, though, that we don't have to disclose anything, because
Well, I was
if you
not,
take that attitude, you'll never get another dime from anybody.
well,
And that's a very
And-
poor policy.
okay. Let me just be clear. We're not going to ask the city for any more money.
Well, I would suggest it wouldn't do you any good to ask anyone else either, if your attitude is, we don't have to tell anybody anything when you act on behalf of the city of Jamestown using our resources, our town square, our police, our water people, everyone else who contributed to do this. And if it's your idea we don't have to tell anyone anything, then we're all in big trouble. And I don't intend for the city to be in big trouble because of an attitude like that. I don't care if I do sit on the board.
Well, I think I've been clear. I have provided all information.
It's not what you provided, it's what you said.
Well, what I
We
said
don't have,
was,
we're not obligated to tell anybody anything. I vehemently object to that statement and disagree with it.
that's fine. I thought you and I had spoken about
We
it.
have not.
Okay.
I'm for complete transparency.
As
And lay it out
are
on the
we.
line.
As are we.
Well, don't talk, I would not talk like that.
Well, we could talk about transparency.
Because there are lawyers.
Outside of
there's
this
law-
room about something else,
There's
okay.
law enforcement people interested in people's attitude.
And all information has been provided and will continue to
And
be
it's your right,
provided.
and I will insist on it.
Right. You're absolutely right. But you don't have to insist when it's being provided.
Well, you said we don't have to, and I find that reprehensible.
Well,
Because that sets a wrong tone of a public event where you have to depend on everyone to make it a success. And it's a city police, it's water people, it's a fire department, it's a community project. And for you to say, well, we don't tell anybody what we do with money, when we're asking you all to lay everything on the line, I find that a very unfortunate statement.
well, we have provided, we did it willingly. We weren't, it wasn't, hey, we need to see all your records. We provided it to the Bank of Jamestown as our secretary, which is in our LLC. We did not have any questions from anyone. I don't, it was my understanding that as a private entity, that it wasn't a requirement. That's all that I was saying. I was not trying to bring forth any sort of attitude. I apologize
I
to you.
feared you've already done that.
Okay, well, I apologize to you and to the city council if that was perceived in that manner. But I was not told by you on our board or by anyone else that I had to. That's why the statement was made. So
Sir, I would
perhaps we can can move
I would
forward.
think when you're asking everybody in town to contribute, it should go without saying that we need to know where the yellow is, you know, well, yellow went, and things like that. And I hope we can move forward and have an understanding that if anybody contributes money toward any, and what happens, this affects all of our future projects.
Well, absolutely.
Because we depend on banks and everyone to contribute.
Absolutely. I was trying to explain that you did not tell us, hey, you gotta do this or anything like that. We did it willingly
Well,
and we did it voluntarily.
You spoke.
So I was questioned by Councilwoman Lawson, and I was just trying to say, hey, we did this voluntarily and willingly, and if there's any issue, we're happy to provide whatever evidence, whatever we need to. We've done this voluntarily and willingly.
Well, you may be doing it involuntarily if there is something suspicious that happened to the money. When you're taking in public money and using it for a project that may or may not be spent as it should be. I'm just saying that. Now, I'm ready to move forward, but I want to go on record as objecting to that attitude that it is our deal. We don't have to tell anybody anything. And that's what you said.
Well, that was my understanding, because I was not informed that we did have to. And with you on as part of our LLC, I think that would have been something that we would have discussed previously, that, hey, we need to do this. I apologize.
And I heard complaints by some of the givers that they were not aware of where money was being spent. It's not the city, but there were others who put substantial amounts of money into it. They were very disconcerted that they did not know where money was going.
So can I ask why this is the first, as a member of our LLC, why is this the first that I have heard of this?
Well, because you never asked me. I thought you were going to.
Never asked you.
I thought you were going to lay it all out, and now you come in and say, "Well, we don't have to do this." Yes, you did.
No. My question was just, if there was someone who had a problem with anything and you sit on our LLC, why was this not brought forward?
Because I just inferred you were going to do what you said you were going to do, and that is
And we
collect
have.
money and spend it wisely and give us a report.
And we have.
And now you're saying.
And we have shared with you all along, and you've been a party to all of it.
I have not been, but I expect I would be from now on.
I've got a question. The length of time it took to get us this report, that is something we've wanted to see for a good
Months.
time, you know. But we've got people to answer to. People ask us questions, you know, and I didn't know what to tell them. It's been a good while, and
All of the information was there. It simply hadn't been compiled with a bookkeeper. And that is because of 4 children, a business, a full-time job, and no one, including our other members of the LLC, said, hey, we gotta do this. We're trying to do something. We tried to do something for the city, for our businesses, for the public, and we worked our tail off. We, found it at the end or the day of, there was some issues that were really exhausting. And the whole event was really exhausting, but we made it a success, and we all worked together to do it. If someone had said, hey, I would like this information provided by such and such date, it would have been provided.
I think that Regina tried to get in touch with you for months. You were at every meeting until we gave you the money, and after that, we hadn't seen you since at a meeting, and you had a reason why you couldn't come to a council meeting every month.
Every month?
Did you not try every month to get him to a council meeting?
I don't think so.
Not every month. I think
No.
there was, I know a couple times, one time he was out of the country.
And I was out of the country.
Different times, it probably wasn't every month.
I think there may have been 2 times. One time
Several.
I was out of the country
and one thing you just got back.
working with missions, okay?
I think the other time you just got back.
Yeah, right, and when I did just get back, I got back with E. coli, I got back with salmonella, and I got back with Shigella. I don't know if you know of any of those medical conditions.
I'm educated, Mr. Raker, I do.
Well, they put you down for quite a while, okay? So I have compiled the information was given. We're trying to move forward here. I don't want an antagonistic, let's please try to move forward in a positive way.
Mr. Director, I wish you would go talk with some of the biggest givers and talk to them about what happened to the money. Because there's individually, if you're gonna go back to them, I think you need to talk to them
Well,
about
of course I will.
how their resources were spent in the project. Because I think that maybe you had told some that this was gonna go for this or that and the other.
I've not heard any complaints from
People
anyone.
aren't as outspoken as I am. And
Well, this is the
and Ms.
first,
Lawson.
well, this is the first I've heard anything.
I wish you would do that.
What, at the point at which we go to approach everyone, if we are to even do that, then we will. We have not heard one person have any complaint. We have not heard one person say, well, I was promised this, that, or the other thing, and didn't receive it.
Okay.
All we heard was positive.
Right.
This is the first anyone has brought anything to me.
Well,
It was a great show
Thank you.
and put together in a short time. It was pretty amazing.
We
what you
had
in there.
2 months to put it together and go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, but I mean, that, everybody agreed it was good. Everything went well, you know?
Right.
But,
Big crowd for a first time event.
yeah, it did. But we really needed to see this because we've got to answer
Sure.
people. And
Absolutely.
it's been, how many months?
Well, it took several months just to pay all the people that had been utilized. You know, the different vendors and the things. And quite honestly, it wasn't my priority. No one told, I was trying to run a business and hold down a job and be a father to 4 young children. So, and travel out of the country and work on missions and things like that. So, you know, I apologize, but that it wasn't sooner, but no one gave me a time frame. No one said, hey, we'd really like to have this by such and such time, or I would have provided. That's all I can say. You know, no other member of our LLC was saying, hey, we gotta get this to them, or we gotta, you know.
well,
We
you were close.
did provide it all.
You were not around a lot, Mr. Record.
That's right, I was out of the country and I was
would
working.
go by your store and it'd be closed. I spoke to Mr., our partner, the third man about it, you know, when you were.
Sure.
And, so I'm glad you're here tonight, but we've got to not have the attitude that we just don't have to tell people where the money went, because we do.
Well, and we have to have the attitude also that there's transparency. If someone has an issue, to come to me
Well,
immediately.
They don't have that confidence to come to you like some may, Mr. Director.
Oh, I have another question. Between yourself and him and Air, $4,291.97. Do you have invoices for what that money went to you all for?
As I stated, Councilman Lawson, we have invoices for everything. That's why it was all provided to the bookkeeper. All this was put together based on the invoices provided to the bookkeeper.
Okay, and can we see those invoices?
Certainly. If you have a question about a particular invoice, you know, you can take it up with our treasurer, and she can provide everything, who can work with the bookkeeper, because we provided it all to the bookkeeper.
Any more questions on anything on the report that anybody else has a question about, or anything that,
I don't have a question, but I will Just go on the record here, I think what Ada had saw a while ago on the $20,000 Bank of Jamestown donation, which was actually the City of Jamestown donation. A couple of pages over, I think it is, no, one page over.
It is, and I noted that in the notes that I think that where it shows Bank of
It's showing
Jamestown
Bank of
20,
Jamestown.
that should be the city. I noted that, and then on, Bank of Jamestown, on a prior page, $10,000 was the correct amount, I believe, from Bank of Jamestown.
That's correct.
The city of Jamestown, 2,500, I don't know, that's something, probably, I'm assuming that's somebody else, a different sponsor or something. That's probably just, that's what I'm assuming on that, because it was a donation for 2,500 that shows Bank of or shows the city, but our donation was 20,000, and Bank of Jamestown, I know, was 10.
Right.
So I think that's where that mix-up was. I don't know if that was just in the bookkeeping or what, but I think that the amounts are there, it's just that the difference is the names are not correct on who donated those.
Just off the top of your head, and I realize you don't have the invoices with you, but there was one expense on here, payment to Kevin's kids. Can you tell us what that was?
Yeah, we made, it was, you know, when we started out, we said, we want to give back. One of the first things that we did is we gave a $1,000 donation to Kevin's kid. We promoted that in my wife's store window, and we discussed, hey, we were making more money than what our budget is, and so we would like to give back to Kevin's kid. And so that's what that was like one of the first things that we did.
Okay, I was just
Yeah, no,
asking.
thank you for bringing that up. I mean, that was something that, you know,
I was just asking, I was,
we actually,
because we actually
Yeah.
gave Kevin's kids too, and that's
yeah,
that.
well, we actually, if I recall, I think we did it we may have done it 2 different $500 donations, and we challenged people to match that. Our goal was to try to stimulate others to help benefit Kevin's kids too. So, yeah, that was a donation that we made.
Anybody else? Questions on the money, questions on, Ada, you want to request that the receipts be brought in?
I make a motion that all the invoices are brought to the council.
Is there any specific one that you question, or do you want me to bring the whole thing to Regina?
It's 58 checks, so shouldn't be a big deal. Right, mine's receipts.
All itemized receipts.
There's
what you
58 checks, it shouldn't be, I
Man,
mean,
they're-
like I said, I don't know if that's what you want, but, I mean, there's 58 checks through, so.
There's checks, there was cash that was done that was the day of the event for drivers and things like that, so that was, I think we still have some of the scribble, we had a volunteer coordinator that provided that, and if there's any question about that, we can bring her in to respond to that. There were certain things that, like Kroger wouldn't take our check for whatever reason, I don't know. So we had to, that was a deal where I had to pay them. I paid them cash, and then it was reimbursed, but we have all the receipts, I mean, we have, so, I'll point out that we paid ourselves a little bit, and that was, if you look at the number of hours we spent, nobody got rich on this or anything like that. We paid myself and my wife and Mark and his wife, we did all the work. We spent I don't know how many hours, if you calculate all the hours, but we, paid ourselves about $2,500. I think ours was 2,400 or 2,500 for all the work and the effort that we put into it. So,
I would have to say that we have many volunteers for 4th of July, and none of them are paid.
well, we paid ours.
And this has been going on for 50 some odd years.
Well, this would, and maybe that's a great way, because it has been, but this was the first year, and it was in a very short period of time, and if someone's gonna come out, we felt that it was necessary to pay them. And we gave shirts away, we had shirts that were produced, we ended up giving the majority of those away, we still have some. It was a first year event. Were the things that we would do different in future years? Absolutely. Were there things that we probably spent money on that we could say, hey, we don't have to do that? Sure. Were the things that we didn't expect to have to spend money on? Yeah, security. To the level, every police officer, every magistrate that came to us, we said, you're hired. Because we didn't want any problems, because there was rumblings of a problem. And I think we all know what that's about, and I don't think we need to revisit that. But we tried to spend money as wisely as we could to provide the highest level of safety and entertainment. And everyone that we spoke to thought it was a big success, so.
There's no doubt about that, you know, but as far as rumblings and stuff going on, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about, but that was pretty easily dispatched, got rid of there when we just kind of just moved the porta johns. I mean, that was not that serious.
He was running over anything, whether it to run things.
Well, Jeff, I think y'all put on a great event.
There's no doubt about that.
Thank you. And, you know, we've already talked about, we're in discussions right now with Kentucky Headhunter, through another source to see if they're available. They are playing in Columbia, I think, in October.
They're always a good draw.
They are, and they're friends with some other, well-known bands, that, you know, whether it be for us or if we all decide to do it again. I mentioned not wanting to ask the city for any money in future years if we decide to do it. One way to do that is through however we use this money, however the council decides that would be best, if we incorporate some sponsorship activity into that to say, hey, we want to construct a fence, we want to have businesses sponsor sections of fence, as an example, or sponsor bike racks. If bike racks cost, you know, $2,000, maybe we go back to all the sponsors and say, hey, for $4,000, you get your name on the bike rack and it's placed wherever, and that money goes into the kitty. And I would love to see each council member be involved in a committee for the event if we decide to do it again. Because it about broke our store, about broke our families, just trying to get everything done in such a short period of time. The reason I was hardly ever in our store for over a 2-month period because I was out trying to get businesses to sponsor. And that also made my own work suffer. So then I had to travel a lot after that, which hurt my business, our business as well. So, you know, our intention was all positive. All our books are totally open. I apologize for the comment, but it was my understanding that it wasn't a requirement. No one had made that clear. So I apologize for that, and if anyone took offense to that comment or attitude.
Well, if there's city money involved, taxpayer money involved, we have to answer to that. So And we can't answer to that unless you answer to us.
Absolutely. And knowing, had I known, I would have probably incorporated the bookkeeper at the outset, or I would have loved if someone would have said, hey, use this, use this. We were just trying to put on a great show. That, so.
Well, if, no other comments at this time about that, I guess what I'm looking at is if you want to bring those receipts to me.
I'll be happy to.
There is a motion on the floor.
Sure. I'll be happy to bring all receipts to you, Mayor, and I can't tell you that they're in the greatest order or semblance, but it's what our bookkeeper worked through, and in the I guess you could say the fog of war of putting the thing together in such a short period of time, that's how we did it. And you're familiar with running a business as well, so you know how sometimes the focus on the business doesn't always equal the focus on the paperwork that needs to be, but we have everything, and I'm happy to provide it.
I would second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor? Any opposed? And I guess the second part would be, at this point, what do we want to discuss about what we're gonna do with the money that's left in the account? Do we want to leave it in the account till we decide what to do with it? Do you
I thought
want it
you
to
wanted
come
to do
back
some
to the
stuff.
city?
Improvements at the park.
That's,
Well, I thought the money was going back to,
What did you say, Reem? I couldn't hear.
I thought Regina had mentioned doing some improvements at the park, city park.
well, that's back, when we did that agreement, we talked about,
Yeah.
trying to do some things at the park. But this is whatever you all want to decide on at this time, I guess, as far as what you want.
I don't want to decide on it right now.
No,
Right
I don't
now.
know what to do with the money. Do you want to leave it in the account that it's in, or do you want it to come back to the city for the city to?
Well, I thought he was going to come back into our possession.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's my question.
Can I ask, is that a legal requirement?
That was what I thought was
I thought-
agreed on.
I thought it was agreed that it's coming back to the city. I mean,
I don't remember that. I don't
I've
remember.
got the,
I mean,
In the last meeting we had, there was, when he brought the paper in, there was $10,000 supposed to come in the agility stations from the Alcoa back into the city. There was another additional $10,000 video docs on history education with the live performances, murals, adult and ESL literacy programs, and citizenship programs. All that was 10,000 and the 10,000 nautical miles. So we agreed at that meeting. The nautical mile stuff, the agility stations on the nautical mile was kind of hard to do, since it was going to be on the sidewalks, on private property, on right of ways. They're trying to set stations up, so you all had looked at a walking trail at the park.
yeah, there you go, walking trail, that's what we talked
Yeah, that's,
about, at the park.
I guess my question is, I didn't think, it wasn't my understanding, nor was it my partner's, nor, I don't think it was any of our understanding that we had no say in how the money would be spent.
I'm just.
It was
going-
my understanding that we would take the recommendations and we would work together on how it would be spent in order to promote community and commerce. That was our whole reason for doing it. If you're telling me that we just need to sign the money over and we don't have any involvement, well, we'll do whatever legally we have to do, but I can tell you that doesn't foster a partnership in promoting what we said we wanted to do.
Well, I just want to say here that in the original meeting back in, I don't remember if it was January or February, actually your original proposal,
February 17th.
your original proposal to us here was, you did say that the additional money would be we could spend however we wanted to spend. You didn't stipulate that we wanted, that you and Mark wanted to be involved in deciding how we spend it. You pretty much said that, you know, this additional funding, additional use of funds estimated at 10 to 20,000, that, no, actually, you made some recommendations here. Arts and education scholarship as approved by the council.
Right.
History.
Those were examples of ways that we would like to see, we would like to work with the council to spend that money. It was never, you know, okay, that money's signed over and you guys just use it as you wish. I mean, if that's what it is, like I said, we'll do whatever is legally, but in fostering, working with businesses to promote community and commerce, you know, that's.
Well, that was what the agreement that we came to, was that we wanted to use any additional money that came back to the city, we wanted to use for a walking trail.
Why did?
That was in February.
I don't think that was that's it, that's what it's gonna be.
I do think, and if you go back and listen, I think what you will hear is that the money would come back to the city to use it however they deemed they wanted to, but these were some recommendations.
Now, here's a copy of it.
I think that's how,
Yeah.
that it was presented, was the money
Yeah.
would come back to the city, for
Well,
the city to
absolutely.
use it however they deemed that was the best for it.
As
That's when we
approved by
discussed-
city council here.
Right,
Right,
yeah. And that was some recommendations
right.
of the money, but that's at the same time, I think, when it was discussed that they would like to see a walking park put in at the,
Right, that was one thing, but it wasn't my understanding that we would have no involvement in, you know.
And the funds were estimated to come back 10 to 20,000 dollars.
That's right, absolutely, and that was our goal. We thought we were gonna have that even
Yeah.
close to the end. We were saying, hey, it looks like we're gonna have it.
Well,
Then we had more expenses, there's everything there.
You got pretty close to it, I mean, to the 10K.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't have any, you know, a couple of the ideas that you've proposed to spend it on, wouldn't have any problem with myself. In fact, my wife and I, for the last couple of months, have discussed the need for some fencing over at Beck Park, so that we didn't have to put the fence up, take it down, put it up, take it down, or use that fencing that's there. You know, we could put some nicer fencing up, some wrought iron fencing up there at Beck Park.
I'm not exactly sure how much we do with it being a state right of way, you know, but us putting a fence up on state right, I don't know. I mean, that's a state issue, because actually, me and Dave talked about that, we got the nicer fencing to go down through there, where we can take it up, put it down just for movie nights and
Yeah,
stuff like
the
that.
right of way could come in.
That's what,
It's
that worries me
impossible.
a little bit on,
Sure could, I
on
never
the,
thought about
on
that.
part
You
of
do
the
that, you
fence.
don't have 10 square feet left inside of that park. Based on where
I just don't
the
know.
right of way easement is, it would be 10 square feet
Well, I mean,
left.
that's something we check into before we made any decision. And I like the idea of the roof over stage, which,
we had some people that had
that was supposed to
volunteered
volunteer
to
to do
put a
that
roof
for
on
us
it.
for free, and I don't know what.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about the time that all the expense on the cost of material went outrageous, and
Yeah.
you couldn't get people to do stuff, so I think it was just kind of at a time that they had good intentions
And
to
good
come do
intentions,
that,
and then the
but
price of everything exploded.
actually,
Yeah.
yes, I think that's what happened there, so that has been, I know, discussed, but that would be a good idea to have a roof put over that, but I guess, I think at this point, we just, until we decide what to do, is
I think
the money.
in all fairness, it's worth, you know, if we have any involvement or say, we're happy, just as I reached out to this manufacturer, we're happy to investigate other ways to do it. or, you know, we would be happy to request bids or something like that. If it's better that the city request a bid, we thought we would be spending the money, not, and giving, that's how we envisioned. I didn't envision just cutting a check to the city and saying, use it how you wish, but if that's what it was, whatever, it doesn't matter to us. We just wanna see community and commerce, and we would like to see something on the square. It's, you know.
Well, if it doesn't matter to you, I think the cooperation with us and you going forward would go a lot smoother if our money was returned.
That's fine, I'll write a check tomorrow. Whatever makes it best. This is the first I've heard of any issues or any urgency, so I'm happy to do whatever makes council happy.
Well, I'm only speaking for myself as far as utilizing the remainder of the money. We have envisioned using it for a hiking trail. Personally, and this is me speaking for myself, you know, I'm not opposed to using it for something on the square rather than a hiking trail. I don't know that we really have that good of a place over there for one, but I'm not opposed to spending it for fencing, assuming we can get permission from the state if there's right-of-way issues. Obviously, we couldn't do that.
Well, there's no reason we can't be open Friday.
There you
There's no
go.
reason whatsoever.
I think everybody needs to have an input on it, everybody needs to have an input,
Yeah.
and then we have a vote, so.
I think we would be happy to get some bids on, a roof. We'd be happy to get bids on building another, I don't know who built that structure, but the idea of doing something that promotes community and commerce both at the park. I think the state personally, when Mark and I were talking about it tonight, we had talked about it before, but I forgot about it. We were talking about it tonight, I was like, wow, that would really promote community and commerce. And if we did it both, if there was a way to do something both at the square and at the park, then everybody wins. Then we can continue to focus, hey, what's new and happening or could be envisioned to make our park better, and what's new and happening and could be envisioned in our town square.
Well, I think everybody would like to put some money into the square itself. If you look, it needs repairs.
Oh.
The square itself
Yeah.
needs work done to it. There's lots that can be done there on the square also to make it, noticed the other day, the flag was hit or
We just had bad luck with semis too.
block loose again there, the bricks loose.
We've got a clock that doesn't work. We've got a clock that hasn't worked in 5 years.
Of course, the trailers are 6 foot longer
Well,
than you.
we need a camera. It shows that truck comes through. I've thought about it for years. I ain't kidding. There's too many of them hit it that don't stop,
And
man.
then we were out quite a bit expensive when I
And
told
what
them.
cameras we are, that's in the town.
However it's used, I think it would benefit the city, the council, and any future possibility of having another Lake Rattle and Roll to do something that could be lasting and a constant reminder about what we can do in a very short period of time when people dream and work together and come together. And a fence that commemorates that, a stage that could be the Kroger stage. We could get additional sponsorship for that. You know, we could sell that stage sponsorship to a number of different companies that's a year or 2 year contract term. I mean, there's so many things that we could do if we all look at this as an opportunity to move forward and to continue to grow, not just spend the money that we have.
Well, going forward, I think we would have to have a council person, at least 1 or 2 on the committee.
I second that.
And there would have to be 2 signatures on all checks.
There were
One
in
of
this
them would
case.
have to be a council person.
I am fine with any, I would love for everybody to be involved, not just me and Mark, because it about killed us. I mean, we didn't have anybody saying, hey, how can I help? How can I do this? How can I do that? Tyler did afterwards say, hey, I'd like to be involved a lot earlier on the planning of, and that was like the greatest thing to hear that. That was like, great, we have the vision for, you know, working together more in the future. I would love that. I would love if Ada said, hey, I want to be involved in the sponsorship. What did you do differently and special that got 30 whatever companies to step up and provide money? How can we make everybody clamor to be sponsors next year? And even at greater levels, you know? So, thank you all.
One of the things on here, again, just throwing this out there, mural, this was on your original proposal to us back in February, I think.
Well, yeah.
Murals, you know, I think that's a great idea too. I have envisioned maybe doing something like that on a building here in town, they just painted over
Right.
Yeah.
the only
They
thing we
did.
have.
Thank God.
It's interesting you say that, Tony. We have on the side of our building, which we don't own, but we have approval from the landlord. My wife has actually sketched up, or we've got a couple of ideas for murals. But I think but that's not very visible. That's in the alley. But I think a mural is a great thing to do. Because it's a constant reminder. Now we've lost something that was so iconic for Jamestown. You know, a lot of great ideas.
So I was thinking along the side of Beck Park there on the side of Burton's Law Office.
Really?
No, I'm serious.
That's a no-no.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
You would have to get the building owner permission.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'll let you put my picture up for $10.
It's like Muhammad Ali.
Lord have mercy.
Okay, so moving forward, I think right now, we're at the point, Jeff's gonna bring us a check, he's gonna bring the receipt. We're all gonna continue on this and get ideas, whatever ideas you come up with, whatever ideas the council comes up with, and we'll try to move forward and try to continue to do something that promotes Jamestown.
Absolutely.
I think that's the whole idea behind it. I think that we need to try to do what we can to promote town. We need to push forward with whatever that we feel we can do. Of course, this expense has to always be considered. So we have to just try to move forward.
One thing that I will have to say, since my partner Mark Glasgow is not here, I will have to, I don't see him having any issue with, but he is the other major member in the LLC. So I do have to run it by him but I don't think he was under the impression that we were just gonna get a check either, but I will run that by him, and it doesn't matter to me. Okay?
Well, the money's gonna be spent towards something
Right,
for the city,
right.
depending on whether it be at the park, whether it be in town, whether it be, wherever it is, it's all gonna go
right.
to something to promote the city, I think. So we'll move on past that, and thank you, Jeff, and
You're
you
welcome.
for coming
Thank
and going over everything with us, and, we'll move on to, the next thing we have is,
Let's get those minutes.
oh, yeah, we need approval of, minutes from our last, meeting on October the 20th. If everybody had a chance to look over those.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve those.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? KLC conference, and I know we've talked about this quite a bit in the past, and we've never really We wanted to go last fall, and it kind of come up, there was a lot going on, to the meeting that they had. They had one in, spring and one in the summer, I think, or in the fall, but they do have one getting ready to come up in January.
Is that Bowling Green?
It is. There's one in Lexington, one in Bowling Green. The one in Bowling Green, I actually have the information on. It's January 25th through the 27th. And it's, actually, from everything I hear, it's a good thing to be involved with KLC.
It is.
Lots of good information, people I feel like that we need to meet and get to know. And when we have questions that come up or things that we need an answer of which way that we need to go, a lot of that can be run through the
They can be
KLC.
very helpful, like our annexation and all that, they
Right.
really give us good resources for,
I'm sure everybody can't go, but we need some representatives there.
we send the smartest one right here.
And here's the
Yeah.
thing, we need to kind of, because it will fill up fast, we need to know, that's kind of probably within the next few days, who can go, who wants to go. But I do think we need some,
Give me the dates on that.
January 25th through the 27th. It's at the Holiday Inn University Plaza in Bowling Green. But I just feel like if, we need to try to get some reservations made for who can go. I fully support it because I think it can be a lot of use to us. I think that it will be a lot that we can learn and have a lot of contacts there for people when we need to find out questions. So if you will, just let Debbie or myself know within the next, what do you think, Debbie, by the end of next week? I know it's gonna be a short week because of Thanksgiving, but if everybody can at least let her know yes or no, that way she knows that she's heard from everybody. Dwight, we need to include you in that too also.
I think he ought to go.
Really?
They say this one in January is a lot too, that where they kind of promote new people and, new positions that,
Would it be for all 3 days?
25th through the 27th.
You could come and go though.
Yeah, I
If you
think
just wanna
it's-
drive over for the day.
Yeah, I don't,
It's not something that everybody has to go to, but I think we do need,
But do you
Some
have to go to all 3 days?
no, you don't. No,
You can go to 1 day or 2 days or 3 days.
that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I might get swinging at, but
Well, just kind of see what you can do, who wants to go, who plans on going. Let Debbie know, or myself, probably Debbie, you'd have better luck with because.
Ms. Mayor, is there an agenda they put out on what days are taking up what stuff?
Yes.
yeah, that would be.
They will.
That would be a good idea,
They
look
will.
at that and.
It's online, if you go to KLC and go to the date book, like the upcoming events, and it'll be on there.
Sometimes there's.
I
It's listed under the City Officials Academy, and the agenda,
Oh, yeah.
So they use different sessions.
yeah.
They do, yeah. You
Yeah.
don't
So
have
you
to,
just go over and you sign, you go to your, whatever
You
session.
get registered, and each, like, I think the first one's, the framework, it's like 9 to 9:30, and they do breakout sessions, for mayor and council, commission, and city managers. And then I think the first day, ethics, one of them's an ethics training, one of them's over ordinances and resolutions, and I think it's probably something, definitely for, council. I mean, it's got a lot of good stuff in there as far as like learning the new stuff on it.
I think we do though have to register for what day you think you are doing because they only have so many per class, I'm assuming. Is that
I
correct?
just looked at that, and it just has a registration.
It sounds like it's more like most of the ones they go to for education. You go, you sign up for those days, and then you just pick what sessions you're gonna go to.
It looks like, I mean,
If you don't get in the session, get a seat, you're out of luck, you gotta find something else to go to.
if you're not there for training, education hours, if you're not there for that, I really don't think it's that big a deal. I think it's kind of like you're saying, you go to, but if you're there for training hours, I think you have to, they're gonna watch how much you've been there that day.
But like all of us,
Yeah,
it would matter.
yeah,
Like there may be one you wanna sit in on that somebody else doesn't.
yeah. Especially when they do the
You have to know
breakout.
that ahead of time.
Yeah, I think, well, not that, but I think as far as registration, when I looked at it,
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
when I looked at it, a lot of them do a day, but this one just looks like it's just a straight registration for 3 days.
To be done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there is a, 1 day pass or anything on this one, and that's just me looking at it on here.
But what about the fee? Cause I know you pay, are you gonna pay for a 3-day
3 days,
and only
1
go
day.
for 1 day, or is there different?
Well, we have to, I haven't looked at it.
Let's check on that.
Let's
We'll get
check
more
on it.
information. The main thing, I just wanted to bring it up and let everybody kinda,
Especially if they wanna spend the night.
yeah.
We need to get reservations.
I know, I feel like, I'm sure you can go what day you want to, but we'll need to know, do you have to be registered for that event, the day you're going, because of the cost and what classes are
Yeah.
gonna be full. So, but I just think it's a good thing. I think it's something that we need to get involved with KLC. Any questions about that? So if you will, get with Debbie or by the end of next week and just kind of, if everybody gets a chance to look at it online and maybe pick out when you think you want to go or.
If you find out something on, whether you sign up for the entire 3 days or whether you can break it down 1 day here, pick a day that you like or a couple days that you like or if you got, or if you sign up for the whole thing.
It looks like it's just a one-time thing. We're KLC members, $249
For all 3 days.
for all 3 days.
Per person.
That's-
And, yeah.
So if you
That's-
only go 1 day.
That's kind of what it looks like,
same.
yeah, that's kind of what it looks like on here. I just
That's what I wondered.
register it then.
If you were charged different if you were only going just for 1 day.
Some of them do, like the conference does
Yeah.
that. The
Well,
conference
and
will have
they're
that.
longer. you
Yeah.
break them.
Yeah.
This one is probably just one price, and if you go, you go, if you miss, you're still paying for it.
Okay, so just look, if you will, and kind of let Debbie know if you plan on going or if you can't go, whatever, so we know. Okay? Next thing we were going to discuss the contract for our school resource officer, which is Jamie Rogers, which that's up for renewal. And I think Jeff may want to touch some on this. I know we're probably on a little
Yeah, we're gonna
holdback.
have to wait till next month to present that to you. Last month I would have did it, but the health issue I had kind of put a pause button on that. We went to the sheriff's office, we went to the school board. The next step is I guess maybe range for you and the county. The county we haven't talked to the county officials yet to see if they want to get on board with it again. The sheriff seems to think they will, but we wanted to make some changes to that. It was somewhat hastily done last year, so we needed to change the MOU and MOA because Jamie is air officer. It was originally going to be a sheriff's officer, so that was the thing. That we want to get that in front of you. The school board is on board with it already. Actually I was in the meeting with them the day I had my medical issue right after that meeting. So, I think it's a great thing. I hope we can continue it. Nothing but positive feedback on that, on Jamie being down there. And really, it's more than just him being a police officer in that school. I mean, he's a male figure in there. The kids, I was down there for about 10 or 15 minutes yesterday morning. There's kids running up and hugging him, high-fiving him, and bringing him apples and all kinds of stuff.
My grandson is 3 years old, and we was worried to death that he if it even stay. And he's he's never been out nowhere. And he goes 2 days a week, Monday and Wednesday. And when Cody takes him up there, Jamie comes out there, he's reaching for him.
Yep.
And that's rare with him. I'll tell you, that looks better.
It's
And
amazing.
it just, I think it just tickled me. And I think it's a great thing.
There was one day that Jamie had an issue. I can't remember if it was a sickness or if he was at another something. I filled in down there, and almost every kid walked up and asked me, "Where's Officer Jamie today?" So it's public relations. It's everything. It's more than just being a police officer.
I always tell him, let's go, then, are you ready? And I'm telling you, it's worth a whole lot to me. And my wife, I'm telling you.
Well, there's no
Jim.
doubt, it's a great job. Everybody, comments I hear all over town.
Yes.
It's good, positive that he
Yeah.
steps up.
One thing on that, I talked to Debbie today, actually, and Debbie brought up something to me that I will pass on to you if you're talking to the sheriff, the school board. She has to invoice them every month to get paid, so she can pay Jamie.
Yes.
Check with them and see, is there any way they can just, invoice once every 6 months or once a year? I mean, just, you know.
Yeah, the next MOU, MOA that we're asking for everyone to agree upon, we've put a thing in that for like a lump sum payment it'd be due before like February the 28th, was that, instead of the once a month kind of thing like she's doing now. The thing with Jamie is, we first thought maybe it was gonna be part-time. He doesn't work the whole time. When school's out, he doesn't work, he doesn't come to us and work on the road or anything like that, patrol. He's strictly school. We may send him to training during the off time. We did last year. We had to, technically this year, I'm sorry. We had to send him to 2 weeks. Now, 2023, we'll just be sending him to 1 week. But we did, in this new MOU, MOA, we asked for like a lump sum payment due before February 28th, so Debbie doesn't have to track down and.
Track 3 of them down and
Right.
get their part of the
Right.
money every month.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's 4 partners in that. We're a partner, the school board's a partner, the sheriff's office is a partner, the fiscal court is a partner. That's the current, we're asking for the same partnership, but we're asking for that money to be evened right across the board. Everyone puts in the same piece for
That's
the
awesome.
same piece of the pie, I guess is the.
And I thought we were doing that
The
already.
money was a little different this current year. One was paying a little bit more than the other, but it wasn't much. One was paying a little lower. We're asking for a straight across the board, everybody pays the same. So, and like I said, the school board was on board with it right away. I was actually in that meeting when that meeting was over when I had
I'm
that.
sure the fiscal court will be in on it.
I think so. The sheriff
I
reached
think
out to them. I think they're going to Keiko. They're same thing,
Right,
like you
yeah.
mentioned, the League of Cities thing. They're going this week to that. So it's the reason we can't get an answer. And I'm sure we'll have to go in front of the fiscal court, I'm sure, to present that.
And when's the new contract have to be signed in?
The current one runs up until the end of the school year before they go out on a Christmas break.
Okay.
So this went into effect when school went back in session this year after the Christmas break, so like January 6th or something. And then another thing is we're asking for that just to roll over. So we won't have to keep doing this every year, but there'll be a clause in there. If any of the partners want out, they'll give a 60-day notice to get out of this if they don't want to continue the next year or so forth. So,
Good.
and we can get copies of that. We have it written, the school board's already presented it to their members and signed off on it immediately, so.
Jeff, does he have special training as a resource officer?
Yes, sir.
Different than what you all do? I mean,
Yes, there's a new Senate bill that just went into effect here recently. They have to have what they call SRO 1, 2, and 3. He's had 1. The first, he is scheduled for 2 for 2023. And I think they give you like a 3-year window. So the first year was 1, the second year is 2, the second year is 3.
Do we pay that, or who pays for that expense?
We would pay for the expense.
Training.
The expense will just be sending them there if it's out of town, the motel room, the food. It's about like what for any of the other officers. So I don't think we actually pay for the actual training.
No, it's just hotel and.
Yeah.
So they not put them up there at the, Stratton, or not Stratton, anymore,
I don't think we can do that after
is it
COVID.
an EKU?
It depends. They're all over the state. I think that one is at Richmond. But since COVID came down, we can't put anybody up there. Unless something's changed, we usually just get them a room somewhere. You were just mentioning that League of City things. I was just over there back in September for that same place. I'm assuming it's at Sloan Convention Center. You stay there close by, so.
It is.
But,
That's where it is.
yeah, I stayed right across the street, so. And we get somewhat of a discount. We tell them we're sending tax exempt and everything in, so.
So we'll stay on that. We'll get back with when the county gets back, try to get all of that in order, get that signed and taken care of to make sure we have no lapse with having Jamie at school.
No, don't let that get done. I'm Texas.
Another thing I think we need to talk about, just to get a motion to continue on with the work that we're doing up at Sunny's Landing. Well, on the Jackie Aaron property, we've got water lines. Tyler knows more about where we're at on that, but we need to, I think, go ahead and let him tell where we're at, and then we need to get a motion about getting our part paid.
We're in the ground. We got a pressure on the lines and then samples, but we had two bores. We had to come off from the LCCSO building under an industry drive, and then we had the big bore under 127 all the way over. The taps, so they got saddles today. I'm pretty sure they went in and tapped the line and are starting to lay Jackie stuff now. But we're in the ground. We've got it tied in. Just need samples pulled, and they'll be ready to go over there. So we just need approval for payment, on the two big bores, and we had a little 6-inch line, a little 4-inch line, and then it was cased in 12-inch knuckle going on the road.
I make the motion to proceed with payment for Sunny's Landing.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? The only other thing I think I wanted to say something about is, trunk or treat was wonderful. Everything, we've had good turnouts, everything's been great for that, but we've got Christmas on the Square coming up. That's December the 2nd. I did get a report from Melissa Ramsey this week, and I think there's quite a few vendors that have signed up for that. I'm not sure. I believe there was maybe 11 or 12 vendors that's already signed up, and more that have called. And some of them were vendors I've never heard of, so it's pretty exciting because it seems like there's a lot of new people that's going to be setting up for Christmas on the Square. So that, I believe, is 5 to 8. Is that correct, Debbie? On Friday. And we expect a big turnout. We'll have the horse, the sleigh, I think, again this year. And the Santa Claus, of course, will be here for pictures. I think I got somebody text today about McDonald's maybe setting up to hand out hot chocolate. So we're starting to get more participation, I think. And I'm sorry.
They'll be going to get the trees in.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
should have it the Monday after Thanksgiving. So
Monday
it'll be
after
up the Monday, probably Tuesday when we get it done.
You said December the 2nd?
Yes, sir, on Friday. And it's always exciting to see that big tree. I don't know what it is, but it just does something to Jamestown when that big old tree sitting there, I think.
There was a big crowd last year for that, wasn't there?
And they have, she said they've actually incorporated a few more things into it that, trying to make it a little more, just a few different things. And so hopefully the weather will be good. If it's snowing, it's okay. If it's not pouring the rain. But hopefully we'll have a good turnout for that, and hopefully everybody can come out and enjoy that. So that's all that I have, but Terry?
I've got something.
Okay, Terry, go ahead, Terry.
I think it's just a great blessing to see Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Jeff, you had us all a little worried for a while.
It was very worried times.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people praying for you.
Yeah, we had a direct line to the good Lord,
Thank you very much.
You might have been interested in this Christmas light decorating, or Christmas decorating thing.
Yeah, we need to talk about that too.
Yeah, if we're going to do that,
We need to get started.
Yeah.
We talked about, just I think amongst us, some about trying to do some kind of promotion just for businesses to decorate their business up for Christmas, and then maybe a separate one for the people in Jamestown to do their houses, and to make it into a contest, hopefully to get more participation.
Nobody buy my house.
No, you're back.
You did.
I'd rather go, I'm gonna pick a grand young than that.
Okay.
Imagine.
But I think, you know, if it's something we need to try to get, some ideas on how we want to get it going, if we do the businesses, do we want to do, are we gonna do a flag or a trophy, or what are we gonna do to promote it? What about the houses? Are we gonna do, people have to register their houses and then we get judges to go by, and we just
Well,
have to have some kind of order of what we need to do and a deadline for when it has to be, when the judging will be.
I don't know, would you have to have the houses registered, go around and see what houses are,
Well, I'm just thinking if people want to, you know, say that
If
when,
they wanna participate.
if they wanna participate and
Because if we just
register.
drove around, we might miss somebody.
Yeah, then how do you know if you
Yeah.
don't have them registered, they're
There's
registered?
something in it that might go all out too.
Maybe somebody else said, you know,
put a little cash in it.
well, and that's, I'm not sure what all we can do there, that's something we'd have to check to see what we can do, but to promote it, but,
Of course, we talked about, you know, a traveling plaque for the businesses. You know, I don't know if that's something you want to do or not, but you can get them pretty reasonable.
I thought, I thought on that, and I thought it was a great idea, but I got to thinking, you know, if a business has got it, and they go out of business before the next Christmas, then you may not ever get it back, so maybe we should do that and just keep that in City Hall and put the winner's name on it each year, but display it here at City Hall, and then just give them a trophy or cash, or, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you
And
might
that-
lose.
that's kind of, we need to know kind of what we want to try to do, or what we are gonna, so we can, you know, we need to get, because this is already Thanksgiving weekend coming
Yeah.
up. That's when most people's probably gonna start doing a lot of decorating, and then at this point, we'd hoped at the beginning, I think when we first talked about it, that we could announce winners at Christmas on the Square, but that's totally out of the question, I think, because you're gonna have to get farther close to Christmas
Yeah.
to give everybody time to get involved that wants to,
Probably we'll have to
and
look at mid-December or something.
maybe Christmas Eve, or, you know, a couple days before, I don't know, just
You
somewhere, give them plenty of time.
You remember Miss Grace?
Yes,
Mhm.
you remember it well,
I miss her house.
Yeah.
driving
Yeah.
by every year.
She won it every year back years ago.
Oh, yeah.
H, is that something, can we do any kind of, you know, like, if we wanted to give a cash prize, is
Sure,
that
I
something we
think
can
so.
do?
I think so, yeah.
So if it is, you know, that's an option, I think, that would be,
Yeah.
maybe a plaque to the winner, and maybe if you give first, second, third place, or whatever, and we just need to decide what we're gonna give and what we, so we can get it advertised and get it on the radio and in the newspaper and make everybody
On
aware
our Facebook or on our
on our, yeah,
website.
website. We just need to get it out there. Anybody have any suggestions as to what you think would be, you wanna just have a first place for a business in town? You wanna have, first place only for a house? You wanna do 2, 3 prizes? What's everybody think?
It'd be tough being a judge, wouldn't it? 'Cause I mean, you don't know what their mindset was when they decorate. You know, they might
Need to appoint a little
Yeah.
judging committee too, probably.
Jeff could get right on that committee, he's all over town. Yeah.
He runs every street.
Yes.
So he'd know who's
Absolutely.
got everything decorated.
And he knows who's being naughty and nice too.
I think we could get somebody that, you know, somebody that don't know, maybe
Yeah.
who lives in these houses and stuff, would probably be a better.
Give us some.
Oh, gosh,
Get
no, yes.
somebody to come in and, that would be an issue, I think,
Shoot,
if you get
yeah.
some judges, but I think the main thing we need to kind of know right now is what we wanna try to do, or if you want a day or two to think about it, but we need to try to get some information out there, because it's time for them to start doing it, we need to get it advertised.
Put it on the radio, if you come up with something, I mean,
Well,
Can we do cash prizes? That ain't no big deal.
Yeah,
He said we can't.
Hank said we could.
Yeah, that was my, I just wanna make sure that that's
That-
something we could.
I would have no problem with that.
Do two different,
Name it after Miss Grace.
Huh?
You can name it after Miss Grace, too.
Grace Foley Award. There we go.
Hey, that's an excellent idea.
That Echo said that.
Oh, did you?
Well, I plagiarized.
Hey, very good.
Well, I tell you, I lived across the road up there in the hill. I tell you something, I got into over filming this. One year they said all them nice trees out up there.
No.
People was coming up there and cutting the tops out of them for Christmas. So I got to driving around and looking at people's Christmas trees. Trying to figure out who's in the tree. Probably shouldn't be a thing.
I think that's a great idea, though, to name it after.
I told Mike that.
He's already hit the road running there.
Set the bar high, buddy, but it's all right.
First, second, third,
Yeah. Okay, what about if I need a motion to do a first place for a business, first, second, and third for houses.
Motion made.
And my other question, is it Jamestown city limits or anywhere in Jamestown?
Ooh.
Bill, I think
Be city
limits up there.
Yeah, I think city limits.
City limits?
Yeah.
Don't get us in trouble now.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, if they win the Christmas prize, they gotta.
Annex in on it. We can get them in, can't
Okay, so city limits on the houses. Yeah, are we gonna have a theme?
I don't think.
Yeah, that's
If
where
you have any theme, I mean, everybody's,
the 9% is maybe for.
Everybody can do whatever they want to, just a Christmas thing.
Yeah.
What we call it, tadpole.
I think it's- What about Christmas by grace?
Huh?
Christmas by grace,
Sounds great.
I like that.
Christopher Grace.
in reference to Grace Valley.
works good.
Yeah, I tell you,
Okay. Christmas by
You
grace.
a lady.
that's quite a lady.
She was, wasn't she?
Yes.
You got the motion.
Yeah, I need a motion.
You got a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
I liked her husband too, he was a master handling of it.
Who's
Melvin, yeah.
That's
he
why I
was
thought it
qualified
was-
master.
Mr. Hall. Mr. Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, Melvin, he was qualified master.
Yeah.
Handgun, that's saying a lot too, let me tell you.
Okay, so we'll get something together and get some advertising done and promote that and, anybody have anything else? You wanna talk about or discuss? Jeff, have anything?
Oh, yeah,
We need to go into executive session.
yeah, I thought so.
Make a motion, go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
We need to recycle law or anything.
It's, KRS 61.810.